Keanu Reeves is not just an actor. He is a quiet presence that has moved through generations without demanding attention. For more than 5 decades, he has existed in Hollywood as if fame were something he borrowed, never something he owned. Films like The Matrix and John Wick turned him into a global icon, generating billions and cementing his place in cinema history. Yet numbers never explain why people feel such affection for him. It is his humility, his softness in a hardened industry, and his refusal to let success harden his spirit. While his fortune is vast, what truly defines him is the belief many hold that he represents, proof that kindness can survive success. Behind his calm smile is a life shaped not by glamour, but by loss, endurance, and a rare ability to remain gentle in a world that rarely rewards it. A childhood shaped by absence. Keanu Charles Reeves was born on September 2, 1964 in Beirut, a city already familiar with instability. His name, meaning cool breeze over the mountains, hinted at a calm spirit that would later define him. That calm was tested early. His father left when Keanu was only 3 years old, disappearing without explanation and leaving behind questions that would never be answered. The absence of a father is not simply about loss. It is about uncertainty, about growing up without a reference point for identity. His mother, Patricia Taylor, worked tirelessly to support her children, moving them across countries in search of stability. Home became temporary, and permanence felt like a myth. Raised largely by caregivers and relatives, Keanu learned early that people could vanish without warning. That lesson quietly shaped his emotional independence and his deep empathy for others. Learning to survive. Before learning to dream, school was not a refuge for Keanu. It was another challenge. Dyslexia made learning feel like a daily struggle, and constant relocations prevented lasting friendships. He attended multiple high schools, never quite fitting into systems that demanded conformity. Yet amid that chaos, he found solace on the ice as a hockey goalie. Known as the Wall, he thrived in a position that required absorbing pressure so others could succeed. That role mirrored his life more than he realized. Acting later became another form of shelter. On stage, he could escape instability and become someone else, even briefly. Theater gave him language when words on a page failed him. It was not fame he chased, but relief. Acting became a place where pain could be transformed into meaning, and vulnerability could exist without judgment. Choosing Hollywood with nothing but faith. At 17, Keanu left school and moved to Los Angeles with no safety net. He worked exhausting jobs, slept wherever he could, and endured rejection after rejection. Early roles barely paid enough to survive, yet he persisted, fueled by quiet determination rather than ambition. His first film role echoed his own life, portraying a hockey player, a familiar identity that felt grounding. Slowly, opportunities grew. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure introduced audiences to his warmth and sincerity, qualities that felt refreshingly genuine. Success followed with Point Break and Speed, turning him into an action star almost overnight. Yet even as crowds applauded, he remained emotionally cautious, aware that nothing lasts forever. He celebrated success not as a rival, but as permission to keep going, still unsure how fragile everything could be. Friendship, loss, and a shattered center. Among the most meaningful relationships of Keanu's life was his friendship with fellow actor River Phoenix. They connected deeply, bonded by sensitivity and a shared discomfort with fame. River's sudden passing in the early 1990s devastated Keanu, marking the first profound loss of adulthood. Grief arrived without instruction, pulling him into a silence few noticed from the outside. He continued working, not out of ambition, but necessity. Acting became structure when life felt unrecognizable. Keanu does not speak of this loss as a chapter that closed. He speaks of it as something that remains present. Friendship for him is not temporary, even when people are. That loss reshaped his understanding of success, stripping it of illusion and leaving behind a deeper appreciation for the fragile, irreplaceable nature of human connection. Love, parenthood, and unimaginable grief. As fame peaked, life delivered another unbearable test. Keanu fell deeply in love and looked forward to becoming a father. The anticipation of new life brought hope that felt healing. When his daughter was born too early and did not survive, time seemed to stop. The grief was quiet, private, and absolute. There are no words for mourning a future that never arrives. Though he and his partner tried to endure together, sorrow changed everything. They parted not from lack of love, but because grief can consume even the strongest bonds. Keanu carried that loss without spectacle, choosing privacy over explanation. Parenthood, even in absence, left a permanent imprint. It taught him that love does not require time to be real, and that loss does not diminish the value of what was hoped for. Grief that returns without warning. Just as life seemed to settle, tragedy returned again. Another sudden loss followed, compounding grief that had barely been processed. For Keanu, sorrow was no longer an event but a condition, something he learned to live alongside rather than escape. He has never framed himself as a survivor in a heroic sense. Instead, he speaks honestly about endurance, about choosing movement over collapse. Acting continued not as distraction but as a lifeline. Through characters, he processed emotions that had no other outlet. Over time, grief softened into reflection rather than bitterness. He learned that pain does not disappear, it transforms. His understanding of life deepened, stripped of illusions, grounded in gratitude. Loss taught him empathy, patience, and a profound respect for every fleeting moment of connection. Wealth without distance, fame without ego. When the Matrix reshaped cinema and brought unimaginable wealth, Keanu made choices that surprised many. He shared earnings generously, supported crew members quietly, and donated extensively without attaching his name. He avoided extravagance, choosing simplicity over display. Despite immense success, he remained approachable, riding public transportation and engaging with strangers without performance. His kindness is not strategic, it is consistent. Stories of generosity surface not through press releases, but through people whose lives were made easier by his actions. He measures success not in accumulation, but in impact. To him, wealth is useful only when it eases someone else's burden. That philosophy has made him something rare, a global star admired not just for talent, but for character, integrity, and restraint. Finding peace without erasing pain. Later in life, Keanu found companionship built on respect rather than rescue. His relationship with artist Alexandra Grant grew from friendship, collaboration, and shared values. There is no spectacle in their love, only quiet presence. They walk together, not to prove anything, but because they choose each other daily. Healing for Keanu did not mean forgetting loss, but learning to live alongside it. He does not chase youth or illusion. Instead, he embraces honesty, creativity, and mutual independence. Their bond reflects maturity shaped by experience, not fantasy. It stands as proof that love does not arrive on schedule and that new beginnings are possible even after profound heartbreak. Peace in his life is not the absence of sorrow, but the ability to breathe with it. The strength of choosing kindness. At 60, Keanu Reeves represents a different kind of hero, not one defined by invincibility, but by compassion. His life teaches that surviving hardship does not require hardness, and that gentleness can be a deliberate, powerful choice. Fame did not rescue him from pain, nor did pain steal his humanity. He chose kindness repeatedly, even when the world gave him reasons to withdraw. His story reminds us that love is worth the risk of loss, that generosity matters, and that being present is its own form of courage. Keanu does not inspire because he is untouched by suffering, but because he continues to care despite it. In a world that confuses strength with dominance, he stands as living proof that the rarest strength is remaining kind.